Okay, you're ready for some more recipes? Tonight we're making Mississippi pot roast. This is going to be the easiest, most delicious meal you're going to have in a long, long time. A lot of you have already had Mississippi pot roast. If you have not, it's delicious, tender chuck roast, cooked down with all these flavors. It's tangy. It's got a gravy like au jus that you're going to dip your French bread. It's basically a French bread dip sandwich, but you're using the pot roast. And if you're not into bread, you can use baked potatoes. You can serve it over rice. You can serve it over mashed potatoes. We are French dip people, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start. You can do the stovetop, or you can do it in a crock pot, because I'm trying to teach you efficiency and help you with getting things on the actual table. We're going to start tonight in a crock pot. You can have this ready the night before and just throw it in the crock pot before you leave for work, or you can have it all ready to go, get it on Sunday. Monday, it's about just a few minutes, y'all. I'm talking 2 or 3 minutes prep, and we're about to do that in real time. Okay, so I love a crock pot. I don't always use it, but I do like a crock pot. But I don't like to clean a crock pot. So these are slow cook liner bags. They have the real kind, and they have the off-brand at Walmart or all the different places. So I'm going to take my crock pot top off. Now, I will tell you, do not forget to turn this on. There's nothing worse than leaving the house after a full morning ready to go and forget to turn your crock pot in. So I'm going to go ahead and plug mine in. Okay, I'm putting my liner down. This line, let me show you a little bit about the liner. It just goes in there as the water fills up. It gets better. Okay, so this is super quick, easy recipe. It's tangy, it's tender, it's delicious. We're going to take, this is a 3-pound chuck roast. Chuck roast is the best. All the different roasts do different things. I'm actually going to cook an eye of the round on the stovetop too, just to test the recipe, because I love an eye of the round roast more than chuck. But for this, like any type of sandwich, you kind of need a chuck roast. It's got this fat, all these little pieces. They're all going to break down. That fat line is basically just going to have big hunks of meat come out. It's going to be so delicious. So this is a 3-pound. 2.5, 3 pounds is probably where you want to be. Before we put that in, you're going to have pepperoncinis. This is a big jar because I'm going to make a bunch, but typically you would get it's about half the size. Use half of it, okay? So use half of the pepperoncinis and the juice. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to pour in half of the juice. Okay, this is step 1, super easy. Then I'm going to take a bunch of pepperoncinis, probably 6 to 8 at least. Okay, so I'm at like 7. I'm at 8. Okay. You do not have to, but I like to just add a half a cup of water. It makes me feel better about leaving the house with such a dry ingredient pack. This is it, okay? So it's butter, pepperoncini, a half a cup of water. You do not have to do the half a cup of water. Some of you have this tried and true recipe that you love, and that's fine. You're going to use an au jus or a gravy packet. I'm a Tony Sasher girl, and I cook so much that I buy everything in big bulks. Like, I try not to buy the little seasoning packets, just because they're more expensive over time for me. So these are 3 tablespoons. 1 packet typically equals 3 tablespoons. So for instance, you're making like ranch dressing, or like a dip, you could just buy this and use 3 tablespoons. All those conversions are on there. Okay, so it's brand new. Let me shake it a minute. Make sure it's all mixed in there. Oops, some's coming out. Okay. I love Tony Sasher gravy and brown gravy mix, and then they have a roux, an instant roux, which I love. Okay, so that's 2, 3. Okay. So now I have my brown gravy mix in, or au jus packet, either one. They're kind of pretty much the exact same thing. Half a cup of water, pepperoncinis, and 3 tablespoons, kind of heaping. I'm probably going to do like 3.5, 4, just because my people really love the tang, okay? So that's it, okay? So far. I'm going to kind of mix that dry packet around. I couldn't see it very well. I'm just going to leave this in the only place I have. Gonna just kind of mix it just so it kind of sits together. I'm gonna pull those pepperoncinis into it. Now it's not gonna be thick. It's gonna be really loose still. That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna move the pepperoncinis. You can actually wait till the pepperoncinis at the end if you want. Okay, here comes the end. I told y'all this is an easy recipe. Okay, let me move over. Okay, I'm gonna try and stay like this. I don't like touching raw meat, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Meat. Let's talk meat just for a few seconds. When you go to a store, if you know you're gonna buy it, this is what I do. I'm not joking. I put a little hole in it and I smell it. Because honestly, if it comes out with a terrible smell, I'm not buying it. And I don't just put it back on the shelf with the hole. I go and give it right back to the butcher and say, do you want to eat this? And they usually go, no. Okay. If it's all brown and gross, I'm not even going to pick it up, so it doesn't matter. But this one's a nice, pretty, it's got a nice kind of pink red. I don't see any brown. Actually, I just had them cut these fresh for me in the back. And that's another thing you can always do. Go get your butcher, Winn-Dixie, Rouse's, all of them. They always just cut fresh meat for me all the time. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of try and keep my hands off of this. I'm just going to use my fork. A fork is a nice stabber. All right, I have these little black things at the bottom. I'm probably going to have to touch the meat. It'll be what it is. Take this beautiful piece of meat. See how it's pretty on the bottom too? That's really good. And they literally just cut this, by the way. Don't be afraid to talk to your butchers at your stores. Even though they're big chain stores like, you know, Winn-Dixie and things like that and Rouse's. This is from Rouse's. This meat is beautiful. I just had them cut it. Okay, so when you leave a crock pot going and you're going to be gone all day, it's not going to be able to get flipped. That's okay. So what I like to do if I'm not going to be able to flip it, I like to pick it up and just kind of like set it in the meat for a second, get all those flavors on one side, and then turn it over. Just makes me feel better, okay? Like they're getting equal opportunities. All right, so last step, butter. Again, I think I've told y'all this. I use salted everything. If you're in a hurry, take the whole stick and drop it on top. A lot of people use only half a stick. That's perfectly fine. I am perfectly comfortable with having butter in our family. So I'm going to take the whole stick. And I've told y'all I'm going to double this recipe anyway as soon as I get finished with this video. But for our purposes, a half a stick to 1 stick is perfectly fine. It's totally up to you. You make whatever decision you want. And that's all. Okay? 4 hours high. If you're going to be gone just for a little bit and you want it cooked, so this is going to be high. It's already 12 o'clock for me, so I need it done for dinner. I'm going to go ahead and put it on high. If I had left in the morning like I used to at school, I would have had to put it on low. 8 hours. Honestly, the more it cooks, the better. Look at this deliciousness. That's it, y'all. It's totally done. Cover that baby up. Do not forget to turn it on. We're going to turn ours to high. Again, high, 4 hours. Maybe 5 if you need it, if you have a thicker piece of meat. If you're going to work and you're going to be gone for more than 6 to 8 hours, go ahead and put it on low. I promise you that butter's going to melt. It's going to be delicious. Take some French bread when you get home. Okay, we serve it. I personally love mine slathered with mayo, some Swiss cheese or provolone, a dip. You have the sauce in the bottom. You're going to be able to dip your juice, so make sure you save that and get your little cups. And I really don't break up the meat until it's ready. Okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to let this cook all day, and then I'm going to come back this evening and finish the video so you can see how it looks when it's done. Okay, talk to you soon. I just want to say one more thing before we let it sit. I told you I was going to try and do a separate method. This is an eye of the round. This basically has no fat. I actually cut it in half just because it was, I wanted to kind of see how it cooked down. Hold on, it's going to be loud. I'm trying to get some tongs. Okay. So, this is an eye of the round. I did the exact same thing, and I'm gonna just keep it cooking on the stove for low for a couple hours. I'm gonna be home on this one. So I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna cook it on low. Also, I want to talk about gluten-free problems. If you're gluten-free, take off the, hold on, let me just tell you. don't do the brown gravy mix, right? Because it's flour, it's roux. Don't do any type of roux. So what I do instead is I do about a cup of beef broth is one option, or you can do the better than bouillon, which I just threw away, otherwise I'd get it out for you. I only really use better than bouillon paste, and then I mix it with, you know, 3/4 of a cup of water, a couple tablespoons of better than bouillon, and that's kind of what I make when I make gluten-free options. Like my sister, for instance, has gluten for allergies. So I'm gonna try the eye of the round. I don't know how it's gonna taste. This one's going, and it's on 4 hours. It's ready to go. Same exact recipe. Gluten allergy, ixnay the au jus packet or the gravy packet, and add just some beef broth, a cup or so. Okay, I'll be back in a couple hours, let you know how it goes. Dinner's served, everything's ready to go. Actually, we're having leftovers on lunch. The day got away from us. Dinner was great. We ended up having to go to church. Kids came in different times, practices. That's the other great thing about a crock pot meal. Everyone can eat at their own time, but this is what we have. So we took our roast. This is all we had left over from the eye of the round. What I'd like to do is review the chuck roast versus the eye of the round. I've never done the eye of the round. Ooh, my camera. Eye of the round is a little thin. It's almost like a tenderloin piece of meat. It doesn't have really any fat at all, okay? So it takes a long time to cook down. In fact, most people don't even cook the center. They kind of use it more like a kind of a medium rare steak or something. I cooked it down in the gravy on the stovetop because I wanted to try the stovetop method as well. The eye of the round was delicious. I loved it. In fact, we probably will not go back to a chuck roast. I'm not a big fatty meat roast person. I'll eat it. I do not discriminate when it comes to good beef, but I prefer the eye of the round all day. I did cut my eye of the round in half. I think I talked about in my video, and just put both of the flat pieces down so it kind of submerged a little bit deeper. The flavor is so good. Okay, if you've never had Mississippi pot roast, you're missing out. 100%. The ingredients sound crazy. Pepperoncinis, people don't even usually eat that. Ranch packet, brown gravy, butter, and then a roast. It sounds wild, but oh, if you could smell this au jus, okay, yes, that's the butter. So maybe add a half a stick of butter instead of a whole. That's the butter on top. Here's your little French bread. I slathered mine with mayo. I know we got some Duke's and Blue Plate people. I've never even had Duke's mayo, I promise y'all. I'm going to try it one day. Put some mayo down. I took the eye of the round. What I love about the eye of the round, it's a big piece, is that the way it's so, you can cut it kind of thin, but it's no fat. It's so delicious. Oh, this is actually kind of cold. I might have to heat it up a little bit more. Okay, so this is leftovers. We had a couple pieces left over. This is it, y'all. You take it. I usually put some provolone cheese or Swiss, hot, like a good old sandwich, and then you take this hot dipping sauce, let that soak in. Y'all, it's so tangy and delicious. It's our favorite. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna reheat this roast up a little bit. This is my second day. This is leftovers. If you want leftovers, there's not gonna be any. If you've not tried this, I highly recommend. If we have a top 20 favorite meals, this is like top 5. Okay, like you could have it every week. We actually don't cook it every week because I just feel like y'all cannot have Mississippi roast again. It's delicious, so good. It's definitely not low in carbs or anything like that, but you could serve it over mashed potatoes, over rice. You could go different way. In fact, the next time I make it, I'm going to just put some actual red potatoes in the sauce, cooking like a roast and rice would, a roast and potatoes and carrots, and I bet they are going to be delicious. Okay, that'll be our next time. We'll try that. Okay, enjoy. Happy cooking. Stovetop or crock pot. This is a winner. It is the best. Couple ingredients. You have to try it. If you have not, you're missing out, I promise. Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.